electric condenser microphonium, and it worked quite well. Then, about the time I got sick and wound up in the hospital, it started becoming very noisy in the microphonium input. The level dropped, and there was this white noise. Garbage. So I wound up, it's like I need a block of gain to bring the level up from the microphonium plus 48 volts, and then go into the line input on the 528. Oh, God. Stuff that was given me, I had this Orban 1 rack unit high compressor limiter, and the panel was bent a little bit and whatnot, which was easily fixed, and I opened it up and it was pristine inside, and from inspection it was, it's active balanced in and out. Not very well. This thing obviously can be used as a block of gain to bring the level up from the microphonium in order to go into the 528, so I put it in the rack, and I had a 48 volt phantom power block that I hadn't used, so I just cobbled it all together and went into the line input on the 528, and it worked very well. It was just more crap rather than just a box that does it all. The final thing is an Orban 9000A, which is known as the Optimize. It's an AM broadcast audio processor, and it does all kinds of things. Depends on how you set it up. And as it is, I'm not aggressive with it at all. It's there to keep the levels constant, so I can wander around the microphonium and not be overmodulated or ridiculously undermodulated or what have you. So the setup worked okay with the 528 for a few more years, and then this past spring there was some weirdness going on, like some kind of motor boating and breakup in the audio. I was playing around with another transmitter. I think I was playing around with the Blue Magoo and feeding audio into the line level input jack, and it just was sounding pretty rude. And I tried another transmitter that I had been working on, and it didn't sound real good. And it's like, well, and I could hear a little bit of 120 hum in there. It's like, well, the filter capacitors in the 528E are pooched out. So I opened it up, it's like, oh Christ, I gotta take this whole freaking thing apart just to replace the electrolytics. It's not like you remove an app bottom access plate and then you can get at the PC boards or board. No, you gotta take the whole frickin' thing apart. And I just haven't felt like doing it, so it's in a pile of other pieces of solid state audio gear that have just kind of died and gone away. So it's like when I have the time and inclination to friggin' drag around with it, I can fix it. The only thing is the microphonium input on the 528 is shot. That's surface mounted stuff. Oh, it's probably the little chip that's the preamp stage. And trying to replace that. I'd have to have somebody do it, because I sure as hell can't do it. I don't have the skill, and I don't have the equipment to screw with surface mount. So there you go. But I can get in the thing and replace electrolytics and at least get the rest of it working right, because the 3-band parametric EQ is very effective in setting things up. But right now, it is what it is. It is what it is. And what I find interesting is the little rice box that Chris, that you've been hearing me on Slop Bucket with on 3780, the Wazoo 891, is interesting that, well, everything is in the digital realm. You know, there are no fixed crystal filters, you know, for various modes and whatnot. So, at any rate, the interesting thing is on Slop Bucket, you can set the audio response where the low end is good down to 100 cycles before it supposedly rolls off. I've yet to put an audio oscillator to it and sweep it to see what it actually does. And I need to do that. And see what I got. The high end is good to 3 kilohertz on Slop Bucket. And don't go any higher than that. So I figure 100 to 3,000, in other words, 2.9 kilohertz total bandwidth is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad for Slop Bucket. Another interesting thing I noticed is they have a 3-band adjustable parametric EQ. Now, I'm looking at the thing and reading the instructions and going through the menu and looking at where the EQ points can be set. It's like, aha, this is interesting. So I set the thing up to where how I felt it should be set up, and the piece of crap handheld microphonium that Wazoo uses is the MH31, the mighty yellowy 31, and that's got some cheap dynamic element in it. And Jeff W3MMR gave me the radio, but he took one of the microphoniums. He had 2 of these MH31s. They got rid of the dynamatic element and mounted up an electric condenser element in there. So, with that microphonium and the parametric, I've been getting some fairly good reports on Slop Bucket, but, you know, it is what it is. Most hams have a tin ear, and most people's receivers, you know, in the audio department are junk, unless you're using an SDR or some piece of gear that you can get into it like any of your good old hollow state receivers and do the right things to make them sound good. And of course, the speakers. A lot of people insist on using, well, with my NC300, I got to use the matching national speaker, which is junk. They all are. There's not one good speaker that was built for the older vacuum tube receivers. They all, I know Helicrafters had the model R42 reproducer. which is nothing more than an 8-inch replacement grade speaker from back in the day with an Alnico 5 magnet, you know, a fairly reasonable size, and it's in a metal cabinet bass reflex box in which you have the resonance of the box to contend with. You know, you have any bass pumping through, you can feel the back panel vibrating. It's just not what a good bass reflex speaker should be, and furthermore, the enclosure volume is too small. So, and a lot of people lust over those receiver speakers, and they're certainly not high fidelity. Anyway, enough of that. Well, when it comes to, you know, what frequency ranges you really want to deal with, many, many years ago, back when I don't know whether I had I think I may have gotten my tech by then. Maybe it's still a novice. But I decided to build my own little preamp, speaker amp, whatever that would be at the operating position. Yeah, that's when you could buy stuff at Radio Shack. We're talking 1965, 66. So, I got this little Bud 2x5x7-inch steel chassis. And it was black wrinkle finish. This little triad 500-volt center tank, 40 milliamp power transformer, with 6.3-volt filament winding, and I got 4, you know, 2 7-pin and 2 9-pins, all ceramic, brand new, miniature tube sockets, a number of 2-watt rated 1-2 carbon resistors, and the Allen Bradley Type AB pots. So, you know, industrial grade, you know, toggle switch, and a nice jeweled pilot light assembly and all that. But I went to work building up a microphoning preamp where I had a 12AX7, 12AU7, and a 6AQ5, which was triode connected, in other words, screen the plate as the cathode power outputs would drive a fairly low impedance. And the circuitry I was a variation of my own modification of what was
boy, oh boy,
receiving tube manual. So they had this whiz-bang 8 bass and treble tone control with the 12.
Hello, 1, 2.
The first half was a cathode follower that dealt with the
1, 2, 1, 2.
treble tone controls before going to the second half. So I just followed that up with another cathode follower to drive the output line.
Stay away, Chris.
That thing worked very well. Yeah, there's a little bit of hum in it, but, you know, playing around with things, managed to knock that down a good bit, and at the same score, from listening to myself, the values that were in the RCA receiving tube manual are not what they should be for human speech. So I started playing around with capacitor values, you know, and that kind of thing. And I got the thing working very well, I thought. And it was only recently I uncovered a CD. I think it was a CD, or maybe it was a good size MP3 file that Larry WA1HLR recorded back in '92, just before the fire, and I did a session of the Pistol on that, and it was Jamie's last night on the air as N2VJ because the feces busted him for pirating and whatnot. And Larry had a really good recording setup directly off his receiver detector, and it was back when, long duration audio storage was easily done by a VHS hi-fi video VCR. So I'm listening to this thing, the fidelity of everybody and everything is pristine, and there I was in the 41000 rig in full audio, full bandwidth, so I could get a good listen to that thing. And I said to myself, shit, this thing doesn't sound bad at all. So in a way, I'd be very happy going back to that preamp where the fire really messed it up. I didn't have the heart to throw it away, but eventually I did. It was pretty badly burned up. I suppose I could build another one. Oh well, enough of that. I'm gonna get out of here. This is the old buzzer transmission in the morning, and I'm just gonna listen out and see you guys later on. Time to grab a snack and then go back to bed. And by the way, Chris, since you tweaked your audio bit, it's what I would call good communications grade audio. You may say, well, my voice doesn't have any lows in it. No. Your voice is your voice, and, the ambiance and all that is what good AM does. One of these days we'll have a discussion about that pair of 813s. You can get that thing going really easily. I'll see you all later. AJ1G from WA1HLR is out.
Still in there, Chris?
Hey, must have fallen off his perch.
Anyway. Alright, Tim, real good on everything. And I just want to comment on the national speaker. That's funny. Because I have the matching NC303 speaker, the NTS2. And it took me like 7 months to find one. Okay, it was really hard to find. I could find the 300 speaker, but the 303 speaker with the chrome trim on the side, I really wanted it. And I got it here, man. I plugged it up, and that thing sounded so yellowy. And a little coil, a little tiny little magnet that's about the size of a quarter on that speaker. And boy, it was sounding crackly and like it had been sitting out in a barn for 20 years. So I ended up buying a real nice full range speaker for it, and that thing sounds phenomenal now. But I'm real big on matching speakers, so I just thought that was funny. But every time I get one, I replace it with a real nice full range speaker, because like you said, the original speakers that came in them were horrible. So that's funny. Anyway, what else was I gonna? Oh yeah, that's why I don't hear them, Tim. The jammers, because it's at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm usually sound asleep by then. I'm go to bed at 8 o'clock, 8:30. So, because I usually get up this early every morning and then got to go to work, so I'm usually in bed pretty early there. But all right, Tim, 7-3. I'm gonna tune around a bit and maybe go catch the old man on Slot Bucket and see what he's doing. Or maybe jump up to 40 meters for a bit, see what's going on there. But we'll be back a little bit later on, enjoying my day off. Take care, Tim. Big signal me. You're like 40 over down here, by the way. Take care. WA1HLR, W3MMR.
Okay, Perry. Fine business modulating with you, old man. See you later.
All right, Chris. 7-3, and I heard somebody else in there, but I couldn't make it. You and Chris were kind of doubling a bit there, but I did hear somebody else jump in there, Chris. So 7-3, guys. We'll be back in a bit. W3MMR.
Boy, Chris's signal went into the toilet.
And yes, it did.
Yeah, good to hear you guys in here this morning. Timmy, you go ahead and get some rest. And thought I'd pop in and say good morning. And hi to you, Perry, and hi to Chris. This is N2VJ.
Hi, Jamie. Good morning.
How long have you been listening?
A little while. I was in the car. I was listening to you guys and left the hotel and stopped at a local convenience store to get just some supplies for the day, and just got in here, got everything turned on, and yeah, it was a good conversation. I heard all of you guys. Chris, you're doing okay. Perry, you're strapping, and so are you, Tim.
All right. Well, I'll be listening out. I gotta convince myself to get some more rest. So, yep, 500 kilowatt transmitter is successfully running, hasn't blown up yet.
Wow. I heard hiding or hear of it on 9330. I actually made a point to try to listen. I'm pretty sure. No, it was this morning. So maybe the band is, I'm surprised I'm not even hearing it my back scanner.
Yeah, they shut it down at 11 o'clock last night.
Okay. Alright, well, I got a couple of hard-boiled eggs here and some bananas I'm going to eat and kind of get powered up here. And working on an interesting project here, but I'll talk to you about it some other time. It's not important, and the other one for the other guys too. So good job on that 500 kilowatt. I'm glad it's going. And boy, what a sad commentary if it all turned out to be that one disconnected bypass, screen bypass, huh? That would, well, anyway, Timmy. Yeah, boy, I could, talk about being frustrated for just, and of course that happened in the assembly or reassembly process. So, WA1HLR, this is N2VJ.
Okay, Jamie. No, it wasn't the screen bypass. That's fine. It was something to do with the, Tom told me what capacitor C whatever. It's like, well, I don't have a schematic in front of me, but I seem to recall it was at the input circuit of the IPA tube, which is cathode driven, 3CW20000A7. And, it has a filament choke like most cathode-driven amplifiers. And either side, is bypassed the ground. And I think what happened is one of those caps wasn't really tied off the ground, so the likelihood of RF getting into it and the thing just taking off on its own is quite likely.
Well, I'm glad you guys found it, and now if you can get the synthesizer problem worked out, you'll be operating trouble-free. That's a great thing, Tim. Okay, I'm gonna eat my hard-boiled eggs here and just get powered up, and I'll talk to you maybe later on today. WA1HLR in the group. This is N2VJ.
Okay, Jamie. Yep, I'm out of here. I'll see you later. I'll see you later, Chris. See you later, Perry. This is WA1HLR at the bottom of the hour.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. I hear you in there. Just wanted to acknowledge you. I'm running out to the store real quick to go grab a bite to eat. Go down to the local Wawa. Grab a breakfast sandwich. We'll be back in about 15 minutes, but I just want to acknowledge you and say good morning. KA2ZNI in Chile, Wisconsin, W3MMR.
Okay, Perry, good morning to you, and yeah, we'll catch you when you get back. Nice to hear you on this morning. Yeah, go get your sandwich. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee here. W3MMR, KA2ZNI. Nice to hear you on, Perry.
Yes, sir. 410 Big Buddy, or Good Buddy. So you can see I'm not up on the 11-meter lingo anymore. I'll be back. Catch you in a bit. KA2ZNI, W3MMR.